Hello, welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. Today we are going to be pruning grapevines. And if this looks like a tangled mess to you, then you're in good company. I sometimes feel like pruning grapevines is like untangling an old jewelry chain that's been left in the box too long. Anyway, we're gonna go for it. I'm gonna give you a couple of easy tips to know what we should be pruning. First thing you should know is we're gonna get rid of most of this. This rougher bark that you can see here, it's lighter in color and it's quite rough. These were last year's fruiting canes. The ones growing off of them that are smoother and darker brown are the ones that are gonna fruit this year. And these are the ones that we wanna make sure we keep, but we're not gonna keep them all. In fact, another easy way to tell which ones were last year is what was tied onto your trellis before. That's not going to be applicable if you don't have yours on a trellis yet, but we use these two wires, two about waist height and two at about eye level, and I'm just over, that's probably 5 feet right here. I am going to be saving some of these canes to grow new plants, and I'll show you that much later because I want to show you the beginning process and also the end result. So you look for that in a few months. We want to establish which of these new canes do we want to keep. You might want to know there's two different methods to pruning a grapevine. One of them is the cane method and the other one is the spur method. You can look up the spur method on your own time because we're going to do the cane pruning today. I'm looking for nice, beautiful 1-year canes that are smooth and dark brown that are growing preferably off of the main trunk. That is not always possible. I've got 4 of them here and one of them doesn't have that, and so that one will be done differently, but I'll spare you the details. This one gives enough information, I think, to get you going. I have some colored twine here. Flag tape would be good. What you want to do is establish which cane you want to keep, and then we're going to go to town cutting everything else off. Once everything else is cut off, we will secure the new canes tightly to the trellis. But it's just helpful to know which ones you're going to keep ahead of time so you don't, oopsie, accidentally cut that one off and then your whole plan goes to pot. And I'm going to keep this one here, so I'm just going to tie a little bow around him so I don't forget about it. I will, if I can, if there's enough really good ones, I will attach 2 lower ones going this way, 2 lower ones going this way, and 2 up above here. And we will then have 8 canes and that's it. Everything else will be cut off. Alright, I've found the 4 on each side that I want to keep. I have little strings tied onto them, and now it's time to start pruning the grapevine. If you plan to grow your own grapes from these canes, I highly recommend that you carefully stack them aside in a direction. For example, all right, I've loosened this one up here. You can see it's still green on the inside. That's good news. If I cut this off and it was brown, then it's not going to grow new grapes for you. I highly recommend that you keep them in the same orientation, right? When you plant these, you're going to want to know which one is up and which one is down. And you can see here, I think you can, how the bud is pointed in an upward direction. And you don't want to get that mixed up. This is going to be a long project, and this will be a project for later today or tomorrow. And this part's super easy. I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I am just going to set these aside that I want, and I'm going to go ahead and start cutting away. I start where it's easy because it'll clear out some space for me to better see what I'm doing. And we're not going to need any of these. This one does not have. As you're cutting away, just be careful not to cut the one that you want to keep. For example, this one. You don't want to cut down here, right? And then all of a sudden, your favorite one is a goner. You don't have to do all of these little ones like I am. I like to be able to see a little bit better. Sometimes, you guys, I don't see the big picture in things. So, whereas most of you can be like, oh, I can see right where this trails to, so I'm gonna go and cut it right there. I'm like, maybe I don't trust myself enough yet. So I go ahead and take it a little slow. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Now I can see that I don't want any more of what is trailing off of this one. Hopefully you can, I'm not out of the camera screen, but I'm keeping these two that are attached so I can cut it right there. So free it. And you know, they're connected with their little tendrils all over the place. So it's not as easy as just pulling it out, you know? It doesn't look like I will be keeping anything that is attached to this part of the Y. And I'm probably gonna go ahead and cut it all the way down here. Just let me double check my work. Okay. I want to be careful with this one because this is one I'm keeping. I don't want to damage it when I'm pulling out the canes. I just want to be real gentle with it. Okay, this is one I'm keeping here. I don't want to get too overzealous with that. And this one's coming away. And up here, we're keeping these two, which means I can go ahead and cut this right here. And this one was growing all the way into the other grape plant. It was real happy last year. Any of these last year's that were tied up before, if we need to keep them tied up because the ones we're keeping are growing off of it, we're going to want to retie them so that the ties don't dig into the cane. Starting to take shape. A lot less busy around here, isn't it? We're in the home stretch. I like to take off all of these extra tendrils, and that can take me a minute. I will spare you watching that cleanup. As soon as I get the rest of this all cleared out, I will show you how I tie them onto the trellis. And then we'll be done. Wow, this sure looks a lot different, doesn't it? It's all nice and cleaned up. Got most of the little tendrils off. All of the canes have been tidied up, and we just now have the 4 that are going to attach to the trellis on each side. All that's left to do now is tie them on. And this one right here, I like to tie them on pretty loose. When you look at the difference between this size and this size, so this one right here was this size last year. And if you tie them on too tight, it's gonna grow right into the twine, string, whatever this is that I'm using here. I'm gonna tie it on with a good knot. Let me put this underneath the node. That looks nice. And then I'll tie one down toward the end of the cane. All right, we have that one all nice and tied down. There's one just below here that will also go on this bottom one here. I may have to reposition the camera for you to see the rest of them, but I've got 2 here and 2 up here that will go on the topsies here. This one is going to go on the other side of the bottom. A little manipulation here. It's going to go right here. And because I am really trying to train this particular one, this is going to go on tight for now, but I promise I will check it and make sure that it's not being injured. And then it'll just go right along here. And we'll tie it on there. The goal is that as the canes get used to being here and they start to grow, I'll remove these tighter ones that are keeping them in line and replace them with a loose one that just keeps them continuing to grow in the right direction. Tie this one on. And I want this one to be tied onto the back side. We don't want to break these, remember? So we want to be gentle. All right, it's a more natural fit, you know, feeling for the canes. Just feels like it's not straining so hard. We'll put that one there. Uh-oh, got a little ahead of myself. These mess with my eyes. Excuses, right? I deserve that. See what happens when you try to tame nature? Sometimes it hits back. This might be a good time to thank God for my bad eyesight, because if I didn't have glasses on, that thing would have poked me right in the eyeball. I kind of like my eyeballs. That's all there is to it. I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope it was not too confusing, and happy planting. Thank you for watching my video, everybody. Bye!